Alright, I'm Lee Hawthorn and welcome to my YouTube channel, we're trying it again. It's been a little while, but I've tried to do a few kind of football manager saves. Um, didn't work out, obviously. But don't know why I've never just done music interviews. The pandemic has kind of been a good thing in that Zoom has become a thing and it has become a regular thing to do music interviews. So here we are. Today we're talking to one of my favourite bands in the world. I've been calling them the best live band in Newcastle for the last couple of years. Um, some of their releases have been absolutely amazing. Really big fan of Hold Your Own is my personal favourite song. We also talk about Vince, the frontman's favourite song, or favourite few songs as well in this interview. We also kind of talk about the new single that just released, Relax, getting produced by Barry Hyde, being played on Radio 1, what success is to them, the pressures or not pressures, when it comes to them making music and the kind of sounds that they go for and the sounds changing over the last couple of years, the importance of gigs to them, the pandemic, Brexit's effect on tour in Europe, which they had big plans for, and loads more. So I'm joined by Vince from Swine Tax. How are you doing, mate?
Not bad, thank you. Just enjoying my tea in the cactus mug.
That is a wicked mug,
Yeah,
to be fair.
pretty good.
It's like the ones that
Yeah,
I've
it's
got.
pretty good. It's not mine. It's my friend. I
Uh,
was a bit freaked out by it at first, but I'm warm into it now.
I don't know if I could do it with the handle. Is the handle just going up there? Is that the crack?
Yeah, it's a bit like precarious when you're carrying it like that. But
I couldn't be dealing with that. I
it's
need
for
a
the sake of the
proper
design,
handle.
I think.
But a new single is out or has been out. I didn't realize it had been out 20 days at the time of recording. It feels like it's still
That's
like
quite
quite
long.
fresh. Yeah, it's like it sounds
Oh
stupid.
yeah, well, at times kind of folded in on itself a bit with this lockdown. I don't quite know if it's going quickly or slowly. The
Yeah,
days go slow, but the weeks go really quick.
yeah, it's a weird mixture of both. But I think in the music industry, it's usually a case of where you release a song and like by the next week, by the next like Friday when New Music Friday comes out, like people forget about music. But it seems like this song is like being able to continue its momentum, which is obviously.
Yeah, a little bit. It's hard to really judge it, like, because
Mm,
normally we'd be playing a lot of gigs around the release, and obviously we haven't got a chance this time, so it's hard
yeah.
to gauge anything about the reaction. Really, it seems
Mm,
to be doing quite well, and people like it, but yeah, it's hard to get a gauge on anything.
mm. For the people who maybe haven't heard the song yet, Relax, how would you describe it? Like, what's it about? What's the sound of it? All that sort of stuff.
So we wrote it like, obviously this year's been a bit of a write-off. We wrote it like last year, so it's actually an older song
Mm,
than like the screensaver, which is the one before.
yeah.
So it's maybe a slightly different vibe to what some of our newer stuff is. And it was based more around trying to get sort of a, like, this was like just after we'd come back from our like European tour,
Mm,
and we've been listening to loads of music in the car. We've been listening to loads of sort of I don't know, like pop music, but also stuff like the Streets and like their first two albums, and like all that kind of fun, like geezery lyricism, and like an Arctic Monkeys first album and stuff as well, which aren't really the influences for the rest of our music much. But for this track, that was kind of what we were going for in terms of the vibe sort of thing, and but also with like a bit of a pop chorus, and the whole theme behind it was like a sort of night out kind of song.
mm,
So yeah, we just had fun trying to make a song like that, really, which is slightly different to what we normally do. So it's
yeah.
a bit, in some ways, it's a bit poppier than some of our other stuff.
Mm. It's really interesting you mentioned Arctic Monkeys there because I've told you this, but just for people watching, I did an interview with somebody called Tim Senna, who's from Birmingham. I don't know whether that interview will be out on YouTube or not, but go and subscribe if not, if either way.
Yeah.
Um, and we spoke about Relax, and he was like, "Oh, I can really like hear Arctic Monkeys in it," and I was like, "Nobody would ever have said that about Swine Tax before this song," but I do
Yeah,
kind of get where he comes from, and you mentioning them there is like really like fair enough. Aye.
yeah. It was. It went into it for sure. Like, not really a fan of the anything after. Well, I mean, they're good. They're clearly like really good. But like anything after their first album, so much in terms of actually listening to it.
Mm,
I have liked stuff since, but like that's the only album I really like that one a lot.
Yeah, interesting for the streets as well, because like again, as much as it's not like completely alien, I don't think people would automatically think
no, not at all.
Swine Tax. So
Not
yeah,
at all.
really
To be honest, like we like to just try and dig out different influences for each song almost a lot of the time, because and like to think that it still sounds like Swine Tax. So then we just have fun just putting lots of different like, things into the melting pot and seeing having a go, because it keeps it fun, especially when you're writing stuff in the practice room like together and coming up with ideas. It's fun to just explore like and draw from different places.
Yeah, and obviously Barry Hyde produced it. What did he bring to it? Because with you saying that it was kind of written last year is kind of a bit of a surprise to me, because I think there is, maybe it's not a lot of Barry Hyde in it, but I think you can definitely feel the influence from him in there. So like, that come about, and what did he bring to it?
Well, it came about because Futureheads asked us to play their album release last year at the end of their Powers album, and it was a gig in Sunderland. And then like after the gig, he like just approached us and asked about like producing some of our music. And we were in a bit of a place where we like just finished one set of songs, so we were kind of needed to write new material and stuff. But we did have this song like already kind of written, and obviously we jumped at the opportunity. And then we went to record it in March, just before the lockdown happened. And I guess what he brought was just lots of like little things. I guess it was like it wasn't so much like we had all the arrangement and all the parts, but I guess it was more just adding little touches and bringing like a really good performance. And just it's really good to have someone who's like a second opinion on a lot of things, so you're not second guessing yourself.
Yeah.
And what do you think of this? And just like, yeah, I like that. No, I don't like that sort of thing. So just having someone who you like trust to like bounce a lot of ideas off was really good as well. Yeah. I'd say that was the most important thing. But there was lots of little bits in the music that like made it sound. I think it sounds like quite tight. And yeah, quite like focused, I guess.
Yeah. Is this the first time you've worked with a producer then, or have you worked with people in the past?
No, to be honest, we just produced ourselves really. Like we've recorded in loads of different places, like tons of different places, but and we've had a good experience pretty much everywhere. But we like to do, or in the past, not so much now, we like to just like record somewhere and then like put it back in our computer and then play around with it a bit.
Fair.
And then do a lot of that ourselves. But I think, to be honest, I think we quite like the idea of producing ourselves a bit in a weird way, or up until this anyway. Just because I don't know, you get to do exactly what you want to do, even if you don't know what that is. But there's definitely value in working with a producer for sure, if you're on the same page anyway.
Yeah, you mentioned that this song was kind of about a kind of a night out and all that sort of thing, and that it was written just after you came off performing in Europe. Was there a night out while you were over there that kind of inspired it, or was it just a mixture of?
Pretty much just one continuous night out, to be honest. Yeah, but you meet, like, being in a new city like every day, you just want to explore it basically. And usually when you get there, it's halfway through the day, so you get changed, have something to eat, and then go out. And then, especially on nights off when you don't have a gig that night, you just get to explore the place. So there's a lot based on experience. We had a particularly good night in Cologne. We were there a couple of days, so I had a couple of nights off, and that was really fun to explore the city. And we ended up in this like uni disco by mistake or whatever. But it was really funny because we were there like we just got there about 11:30. Then at 12 o'clock the music just stopped, all the lights came on, and everyone was like ushered out. We were like, this is bizarre. But whereas in the Netherlands nothing really got going until about 12 at night. That was when things started. So it was just interesting, like being in different places and experiencing different sort of nights out, I guess.
Yeah. What's a Swine Tax night out like in Newcastle? Like, where is like the go-to bar or the go-to kind of area? Do you just go out to like clubs, or is it more like a pubs or gigs, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's probably different for all of us. Like, we don't always go out
Mm.
together very often,
Right.
even though we like hang out a lot. But in terms of nights out, we normally just go to the pub or whatever, just different pubs.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, we tend to just go through phases, or at least I do. Where sometimes I like go clubbing for a bit and then not go for ages and ages, and then sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'm not going out at all. So
Mm.
I don't know. I just have go through bits of phases and of going out loads and then not going out at all, going clubbing, going to the indie discos and all that.
Mm. I have the same, but it's usually more of a money thing rather than a mood thing. It's just like
So.
300 quid on a night out in Flares or something, and then not go out for months because can't afford
Yeah,
it.
you've sinned.
Exactly. Uh, but I guess you'll have slightly more money to spend once the Radio 1 PRS comes in.
I have no idea. I mean, we've just signed to like a local publisher, so
Oh,
hopefully
yeah.
they'll be able to just be on top of that because we weren't on top of that very well beforehand. So it's good to have someone dealing with it a bit.
Mm. That surprises me, when you said that. And you also said when we were talking the other day about how you kind of don't always, you're not always the best at keeping up with things as far as kind of assets go and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Which surprises me because I think as a band at least, you seem to have a really kind of, I don't know, professional but DIY kind of perception.
yeah.
Like, how do you manage to kind of get to where you are if you aren't on top of it? Because I feel like you are like you are all over kind of amazing radio, and Knock always covers you. There's always kind of like industry support for you. So that must come from somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, we do work hard at it, but it's just like it's hard to keep on top of everything. So it's we work hard and like in the practicing, playing, writing constantly because
Mm-hmm.
we kind of enjoy it, and we enjoy putting out music constantly, pretty much. So like if we can,
Mm.
so you've got to kind of support each release that like comes with it, I guess, because you want people to hear it. But it doesn't feel like we have some like big strategy. We just like making music and then want it to do as best as it can and get as many ears on it as possible. And then we just like doing different stuff with it. Like we did definitely have fun with the artwork and being involved with that and like some of the like more creative aspects, but sending emails and that's just a pain in the ass, isn't it? Like, so I'd rather not do that.
Yeah, fair. How did the publishing deal come about then? Did they approach you? Were you kind of fishing for somebody? Like,
Yeah, we sent them an email like when Screensaver came out, and they said they liked that one. And also, I've been in touch with Matt Beatty, who works there, and he's runs Box Records, and he's also the singer of Pigs. And I just sent him an email just asking for advice about something different or whatever. So, but that meant he'd already like heard us or previously. And then they said they liked it, but everything was fucked up with the lockdown and everything. But and then we just sent them, when we had new music, and they liked it and said they might be able to like work with us or whatever. So that was it really.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. So
Brilliant.
encourage people to just send out an email.
Yeah. Which you would want to do.
Yeah.
Back to the Radio 1 play. Congratulations, by the way.
No, thanks. Yeah.
It was like amazing. I did like what I was saying before with the interview I did with Tim Senna. I did say on that Swine Tax aren't the type of band that'll ever get played on Radio 1, but I'm very happy to be wrong. How do you feel about that? Did you ever like? I suppose you don't ever make music to be on Radio 1, but did you kind of? Were you surprised when you got the email or whatever saying that you had?
I've got no idea really, to be honest. Like I barely ever listen to Radio 1, like apart from put it on in the car sometimes and stuff, like just for like a change of mood.
Yeah.
and I like some stuff on it, but at the same time, I don't really have a gauge of what they play and what they don't play. Like, so I've got, you know, a loose idea that it's just all like mainstream pop. But yeah, I don't really know. It was never, obviously, never like a target for us. But at the same time, with this song, we thought it's a bit more poppy. This one, this track, and it's maybe a bit less kind of underground cool and some of our other stuff. So we were like, well, it wasn't a surprise that this one got kind of more like, I don't know, broad appeal in some ways, I guess. But yeah, it was still obviously a surprise to get played on Radio 1.
Yeah. How, like, in the process of making a song, when do you start thinking about like where a song might fit? Like, obviously, you used to be on kind of Six Music with like Lamarck and Tom Robinson. I was obviously a big fan of his. At what point do you think, oh, this might start to like fit for wherever, whoever?
Almost not until it's out, or not until when it comes to like promoting it, sending out some emails or whatever. When you have to write the press release is when we think about it. It's never really a main concern up until that point, because we don't really have, like, we know what kind of music we like and we know what we can kind of do, but we kind of draw on different things for influences and just see what comes out, really. And we have different interests at different times, so like our music's quite a lot different to what it was like 2 years ago, when we were like just starting sort of thing, or doing it properly anyway. So yeah, but there's no real thought to that much, to be honest.
Fair. Is there anything, you mentioned there that your sound has changed quite a bit in the last kind of 2-3 years? Is there anything that's kind of sparked that? Is it just a case of like your listening habits have changed? Is it bringing you in as a full-time member? Is it like, what's changed?
I think like the two main things are just like taste in music has changed quite a bit. Like what you're listening to. Like this was like our first band, when me, Tom and Charlie started, and first time like, or like at least first band in a long time, like since school or whatever. So we're just like exploring stuff and just like experimenting and just jamming, like having fun. But I think when we obviously listen to music, and we're like fans of music, but at least speaking for me personally, I was pretty, like, my musical education wasn't like it is now, sort of thing. I didn't listen to as wide an array of music. And so I feel like playing music gives you like a kind of a different appreciation for it, sort of thing. And just being involved with it more has like broadened my listening habits a bit more. So I think just through acquiring new tastes in music is the main thing. And the second thing is just like mood, I guess. Like, just like I feel like I was a bit more miserable like a couple of years ago than I am now. Just I'm not sure why particularly, but just So I think that has a big influence on the kind of music you make as well, I guess.
Do you ever feel a pressure to kind of make a certain sound, either because of kind of the reputation that you've built, or because of the growing reputation again, but in a different way? So the reputation of sound I meant there, but more so as you grow and kind of get more coverage, like getting Radio 1 played, does that now mean that not you're going to go out and write a kind of Dua Lipa song, but are you kind of more thinking, oh, that's an option now and we maybe should be aiming towards that? Like, does that change? Is it pressure?
It's not really. I mean, no, not really. Again, we only feel like partly in control of what we make anyway. Like, half of it is like, we can try and make a song like that, like our last one, but there's a good chance it won't turn out anything like it. We still don't feel like we're fully in control in terms of making it like or capturing a certain thing that we had in the last song. But we do, and it's almost kind of not related to kind of how well it does either, really, necessarily.
Like,
I think some of our favorite songs aren't necessarily the ones which are everyone's favorite song, but some of them are. So it's yeah, we sort of we think about what that did, and if we like it, we'll be like, yeah, well, we could kind of do something like that again. But I don't know. Also, when you're aware of like what lots of other artists are doing as well, that kind of influences a little bit in what you want to make as well. But there's a lot of like a certain kind of music, like in our kind of like sort of what we do is like become like really popular now, or what we kind of used to do, like in terms of some of the same influences.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of like moving away from that a little bit, just because it feels like people are doing it well, and but when you're hearing it so much, it kind of like saturates. I don't know, saturates everything, and you're like, well, there's plenty of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you grow tired of it a little bit. So yeah, there's all different like influences on what we do, but it doesn't necessarily mean just because one thing got played on Radio 1 will like.
Yeah. I assume as much, to be fair, but I had to ask. Also, dying to know what your favourite Swine Tax songs are, if they're not the usuals.
Well, I mean, I don't really know what the usuals are, I guess, but my favourite ones are like that have been released are probably Screensaver. I'd like Tory Water, maybe. Like just personally, but I mean, I like them all. But I don't dislike any of them. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put them out. And I always like the most recent stuff. But then once it's out, you're kind of sick of it because you've been like writing emails or whatever, and you just like want to move on to the next one.
Yeah. Is there anything that kind of makes a Swine Tax release or Swine Tax in general like a success to you? Is there anything that you're kind of aiming towards? Is there anything that with each release is like, oh, if it doesn't get this, maybe this wasn't the one? Is there anything like that?
No, not so much really. Like, yeah, you can't really have it, or at least I don't have a good gauge of what's going to be popular or whatever. And if it isn't popular, I'll be like, oh well, that's not really popular, but doesn't mean that kind of style of song isn't or whatever. It just might have been not quite as like catchy as you thought or whatever, or as quite as, I don't know, like captivating as you thought. But it doesn't mean it's a like total write-off.
Yeah, no, fair. I think obviously kind of gigs are, to me, the main thing about Swine Tax. Obviously, like the releases are always amazing, but I remember the first time I seen you was when it really kind of clicked for me. Seeing you at Hit the North, was that 2018? I think it would have been. And from then, have called you the best live band in Newcastle.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and like how important is playing live to you? Is it kind of the thing that you enjoy the most? Because it seems like it.
Yeah, I mean, we love playing live. Like but yeah, it's been strange not playing so much. It's a really good way of like getting like a musical chemistry going as well, like, which is quite important to what we do in terms of writing stuff as well. Like just like playing together really owns your craft a bit, and so not playing has been really strange. And it's also a great way to like test new material and see how it works. So it's been like we're going to be recording some new stuff next year that we've written, but having not played it live, it's going to be a bit weird to know what it's going to turn out like, or if it's if it's going to connect with people. So it's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, we definitely missed it loads.
You've kind of been hit twice in a way, because I remember at the start of the year, we were talking about the kind of your plans for 2020, and you were kind of more worried about the possibility of Brexit ruining any potential tours of Europe and stuff. And then this big pandemic comes, and you're like, there's just no chances there. Have you kind of spoke to anybody, or do you have any ideas just from like reading things and whatnot of like when things maybe are going to open up again for like proper gigs? Obviously there's kind of social distance ones around like the northeast, but do you think there's like any timeline for touring Europe?
Nah, I mean, we haven't really got around to the thought of it because it's quite depressing, isn't it? Really, like you have to really, and it takes a lot of planning to do a tour, like, and make it happen, and like, yeah, like a lot of time and effort to do it, and it's just like we've already done that this year, like with 2 tours, which obviously didn't go ahead. So yeah, so we're just gonna wait until we've got a bit of a clearer picture to know when it's a good idea, really, because it takes so much effort. I think we'd rather just put that effort into writing new material and maybe recording it at the minute.
Yeah.
And then being able to do like a proper tour when you can get, full crowds, basically.
Do you have much penciled in, even just in the Northeast, for kind of, I guess it'll be next year now?
Well, we did have some of these socially distanced ones, but that's obviously been put on the back burner again with these like second lockdown and stuff. So, but hopefully we'll get a few of those put together again, because we'd love to play, like, even a socially distanced gig will be like really fun for us. So hopefully we'll have some of those in the Northeast, like next year, early next year. And then we're playing a gig in at Bobbick's in May, and hopefully that'll be with a full crowd, but we've no idea. Yeah, that's with Pit Pony, and then we will be looking to reschedule some of these gigs for this tour that we had booked, which was meant to be for May. So fingers crossed we'll be able to get some of those in again.
Yeah.
But I'm not, like, we have no idea what the situation is going to be with some of the venues, because a lot of venues are threatened at the minute, and especially the kinds of like independent venues that we would normally play. It's a bit, and that's kind of another reason we don't want to just email people and be like, that gig, and they'll be like, yeah, we're closed.
Yeah. Where were you going to be on tour? Was it Europe again, or were you doing the UK or both?
We had a couple of, like, we had the UK tour more or less planned out, sorry, and then we were looking to do a tour in Europe around about this time, I guess, like October, November, and we had maybe 2 dates planned for that. We were just starting to do that when the lockdown really hit. So
yeah. Oh well. Hopefully we'll get to see you live soon, social distance and properly as well.
Because, yeah, well, we'll have loads of new songs anyway. That's one thing.
What are they sounding like? Because I remember the other day when we were talking, you were saying it's kind of going to be kind of poppy choruses, but maybe it's a more raw production than maybe it's Relaxers.
Yeah, that's what some of the tracks are looking at the moment, which is, again, not our intention. Like, we often, I think, because we listen to loads of different stuff, and that all goes into what we make. But a lot of the stuff we're influenced by is not as kind of poppy as some of the stuff we end up writing unintentionally. And that's not to say it's like more catchy, but just, pop-like sensibility. Some of the stuff we end up writing has automatically got that a bit more than some of our main influences. So we'll be influenced by some certain things, but it'll turn out sounding quite different just because, I don't know, it goes through the process of us writing it, even if we've got some certain influences in mind. So we've got a couple of songs which, again, have like definite, like, quite catchy choruses, but are also quite fast. And we want to, for these next songs, we're going to record them live, or more. We do kind of do that anyway, but have a more focus on it sounding obviously live. Like, so recording the whole band together.
What's made you want to do that?
I guess some of the music we really like is, a lot of it is recorded that way. Like, we're really influenced by Velvet Underground, sort of, in terms of the energy and Stooges and the Fall, OCs are like a newer band, and it's all recorded, or primarily recorded live. So to we'd like to capture a bit more of that raw sound, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing it. Back in 2019, I want to say, which feels like so long ago, but it was only last year. We spoke after your set at This Is Tomorrow, when you played the BBC Introducing stage, and I asked you if there was any kind of longer form coming, and you kind of mentioned there was, but then refused to acknowledge it if it was an album or an EP, just longer form.
Yeah.
What's the latest on that?
Well, so yeah, that was kind of our plans for this year, which we're coming to the end of now. So that's obviously been pushed back. But yeah, it's just depends on how many songs we get to. I mean, it's quite expensive to record. So and our songs are generally quite short. So it means we need a lot for for an album sort of thing. So but we'll certainly have some release, unless something else disastrous happens. But we'll get something together for sure. So yeah, we're quite looking forward to that, because as much as we like putting music out consistently, it's quite exhausting having to promote things constantly.
Yeah.
It'll be good to get something, one big thing out, and then promote that.
Yeah. Oh well, again, looking forward to that as well. Sounds like it's an exciting 2021, or maybe a bit later for Swine Tax, whether it's longer form of music, hopefully an album, just more singles in general. So it sounds good. Where can people find you to kind of keep up with all this?
Just usual places. Probably the best places, like our website, which is swinetax.com, and then that has links to everything else really. But yeah, we're easy to Google.
Yeah.
Everything's pretty much at Swine Tax. So yeah, if you look on Instagram, Twitter, and stuff, we'll be there.